Hello, this is just a quick rationale and explanation of what's in the curriculum drive. Last minute, yes, but it's been a very rough summer. So if you're looking, so I'm on 4th grade, for example, but 4th, 5th, and 6th will look very similar. RLA is the new ELAR, Reading Language Arts. So trying to get used to the new term, that's why it says that. Your scope did not change. 4th grade, I did make a change. And the rest of it will go there, but your word study matches your spelling. So there's the first change, but they will keep going. So when you have a word study, then it matches your spelling. So the words their way was taken out. I like it because they need more of the words their way, but you just don't have time, and it just reinforces it. So that's that part. The rest of the scope will be changed soon, but it'll match what's in the Pearson. So then these are the resources I recommend. So my teachers are getting these after September 1, and we can buy them both. They'll get them. For now, the copies, or whatever the lessons in there are in there, but once September 1, everybody has their books, I'm not going to put them in there anymore because they take a while. So just for now, they're in there, but those are the ones I recommend. So if anywhere it says like 4.2 finding the right clue and it's in the reading section, it's from this book. And if it says 4.2 or 3.1 something else, it's from this book. So looking back at the scope, like I said, your scope did not change. We're looking at with these new TEKS is you're really going back to, I like to say, balanced literacy and the good way of teaching reading, which I think we've gotten away from a lot, especially with our limited number of time. 90-minute blocks, 70 minutes blocks, 50, 60-minute blocks in 5th and 6th grade. So what I did was I broke it down. So week 1, an example of where Pearson is. So this is all the Pearson theme right here. That's the theme that goes with Pearson. Materials. Here's your objectives, obviously. Then it tells you, because you're getting started, just go ahead and start your academic word wall. This lesson right here comes from the reading lesson, so it's right. Should be right here. There it is. Y'all are on video in the background.
Are you recording?
So that's the lesson right there, so you can pull it up. So I like these because they're really, really short. The Pearson ones are a little longer, and if you're like me and you have to talk shorter, I'll be a minute. You want to come back to me?
Okay.
So these are shorter lessons if you like to talk, because research shows that what you can usually teach in 10 to 15, the kids are going to get better than your 45-minute lesson. So I like that these are short and to the point. So that's where those are. If it's in the writing section, so if it's in the writing section down here, then those are up here. And they're nice little short mini lessons that can get the kids into the reading and actually into the writing more, because the bottom line is our kids aren't reading enough. So looking back at the plan, so those are where those are from. Notes may be on there, but you'll find, like in my 4th, 5th, and 6th, I like some of these lessons, be a coach to your partner. The ones that aren't exactly 5th and 6th grade level are not in there, obviously, but this is teaching kids all the things we do, quickly through the year, or we forget to do, or they need, but we don't have time for. But be a coach to your partner. This is like a 5-10 minute lesson in here, and you just are able to teach them how to talk to their partner. Don't tell them the answer. Don't, help them. So it's a quick mini lesson that teaches them how to do the things that we need them to do. So we're like this one teaches them where to go in the room. This one's vary the length. If
you're available, could you come to the front for another job?
Vary the length type of text. So it tells them like when to take breaks. So we're teaching them those skills. So when you get to STAR, remember you're supposed to stop and take a break. Map it. And so we're teaching a lesson on it. It's 5 to 10 minutes. and then you can move on and refer back to it if you need to. But the kids need to be taught these things. So it really reminds me of FMP, and we're like, oh, well, they may not need that. We'd be really surprised the skills that these kids are missing, or that we just don't have time, so they're in there. Quick stops using symbols. Let's go ahead and teach them how to do that. And then I would not recommend ever in my life making an anchor chart for every single one of these, because you teach multiple subjects or multiple classes. So you're only going to make the anchor charts of the ones you know you're going to want to refer back to. Like, I probably wouldn't make this of the perfect reading spot. I might just shine it on my board or not keep it, because I think they're going to get the gist. One I may want to, this one I may want to make an anchor chart on, but I probably won't keep it up there all year. I'm going to do it until, the whole point of anchor charts is for you to teach them a strategy, and then you scaffold them off that strategy. So some kids may use it, some not, but you teach them something and then you try to take them away. As adults, we don't walk around taking notes and annotations all over our writing, because we have been scaffolded off of that. So you want to teach them a strategy and then obviously scaffold them up. So, but if you want to keep this one up, or another thing I recommend that I used to do is I'd either have a journal for each class, and we'd make the anchor chart on our in our journals, and they'd make it too, and that way I can just pull it back out and refer to it. Sometimes, because if I couldn't keep up with something, I'd walk around the class and I'd borrow a kid's journal that day, so they got to watch as I made the thing in their journal for each class. And so they thought it was cool because their journal that day got to be my anchor chart, and everybody else would make it in there. So that's another idea in their reading journals, to make those. So then you can kind of see how I incorporated. You don't have time to fit every single thing from Pearson. Pearson does have some good stuff in it, and I like the stories. And so a lot of that's in here. Well, for teaching a mini lesson, you don't really have all the steps to the Madeline lesson Hunter cycle, because you may not have a closure, because there's so many. So these are quick and to the point, but for here, like I wanted, for this shared reading, it was about the moon, and I put in a link to a video about Buzz Aldrin. He's walking on the moon. So you still want to include stuff like that, and all your fun stuff that you do. But I like the listening comprehension. And then I may find, you can put your leap forward stuff in. This is a tracker for progress and building stamina. Notice in 4th grade you should really be building up to 15 to 20 minute rotations over the next 2 weeks. It's really hard if you don't kind of make yourself do it. Some days you may do 1 rotation because you had a longer lesson that day, or you didn't get to it because you got to build yourself up. So sometimes you can do build up to 2 rotations, and they're like 18 minutes long. But y'all have guided readers that I really like, because this is narrative nonfiction, and then in the Pearson, it'll show you the guided readers that go with that. So you are pulling groups. These kids are silent reading a book they want, and they be doing, finding all the suffixes in their book when they're done reading. Give me 3, because that's what you taught that week. And the other kid, you have a group meeting with you. They may be reading with you to pull those kids up, because we have a lot of kids not on level in 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. They have just those reading gaps that we need to be working with them on. So that's just building your stamina. These are in here just this week because they throwing a kid at 20 minutes. I know my son's going to 4th grade, and if you asked him to read for 40 minutes, he wouldn't make it, because he's played Fortnite probably all summer. So we got to build them up. I have a little timer in the resources, and I like it because it counts up. So it's right here. And when you download it as a PowerPoint, you can play it on your screen, and it counts up so they can see, when they're to that point. How long can I go? So you said in Pearson you don't have time to teach it all, but we try. I put a respond to reading in there because I know, as for me, I would really want to make sure I was doing that every day. So you can actually do these in really any order, but I put it here, but you could do it up here after your comprehension lesson. You could do a rotation right off the bat when you come in. But your respond to reading is really, I put a question, but you can really do whatever question you want. Those are just to kind of, get you going and trying to get us used to making them right every day. But write 2 to 3 minutes reading response, and then make sure that they're able to share back. It could be a very informational time for you, but it can also really practice their speaking, their listening skills, and all those things that we want them to be able to do as good little humans. Writing, I changed to where it's also in this format. I like them on the same page just because when I'll show you on the next week, when my word study is suffixes, then my spelling down here, mini lesson, is also suffixes, the same one. So I'm decoding and I'm encoding suffixes. So this one has a quick spelling 5 to 10 minute lesson, and then your mini lesson is 10 to 15 minutes, and then you got to get into writing and building their stamina in writing, and then making sure that they share back. So I like these lessons because they're really quick. This one recommended a book. I don't want to read a book that day, so I'm just going to put, this was a video to the book. On week 2, see if I can get back to it. Did I have week 2? Yeah, there it is. And I'll put the rest of the resources. You'll see on week 2, may have been week 3. Okay, I'll get there. I think it was week 3. I used a book from the Collaborative Classroom because I got some really good books for the writing, but I actually used one of these lessons to teach the same thing that was teaching, but it was shorter than the Collaborative Classroom, and it did the same thing. So it just helps me teach it, quickly, and then get the kids writing. But I really like the book. Their Starting Personal Narrative, and I think it was The True Story of the Three Little Pigs, which I thought was really fun. So the books in Collaborative Classroom are amazing. The lessons are good too. I just found I wanted to use this one for that. So using multiple resources. Then one thing here, this is an anchor chart. I haven't put it in there yet, but this will really help with text structure. So I kind of give you a hint and say, keep this anchor chart and teach them how to use it, and you're going to do it every time because our text structure is very low. So when I attach that, you'll see it. It's like a fill in the blank, and kids will just are going to be doing that to really build on their text structure. So some anchor charts I may say, hey, this is one you're going to want to keep up because you're going to try to do it with almost every, once you teach them how to do it, you're going to try to do it with almost every literary text you come to, and they're going to be quick at it, and so by the time they get text structure, they're going to be knocking out of the ballpark. This one's shorter because obviously you have MAP this week. So you can see right here I said 3 days of MAP testing, so only take 2 lessons to kind of give you some wiggle room. But also use what you want. You can copy this template and put it in yours, but then you can change what you want to change or do them exactly like I'm doing. I have 2 teachers that I'm doing exactly like you, and then I'll add stuff in until they get used to teaching not 45-minute lessons or 50-minute lessons, but really that writer's and reader's workshop model. So here's your suffix lesson. Hello. And then the suffix lesson in the Pearson book they're a lot longer, or they're very worksheet driven. So really want some very good reading and writing authentic experiences. So these are not all of that. So this one's out of that one. But look at some of these books. Buying Stock and Sticky Notes talks about the kids making notes with sticky notes. Keep your eyes and mind in the book. So these are really good for them. Here's the third read, and then reflect and share. You got some lead forward you can always add in there. These are all notes for you. Respond to reading again. Make sure they share. Down here, so we decoded. We did some suffixes in reading. Well, down here I'm going to do spelling with reading. This spelling in the Pearson, I'm not a fan of, spelling worksheets like that. They're nice because some kids can get 100 and some really struggle. But the whole point of spelling is to really engage and teach them so that it transfers into their writing and to help them read. So I took those same words. So you'll see right here, the suffixes I used are from page T170, which is in your Pearson. But I didn't use those lessons. I'm using the words, but then I'm using more engaging, multi-sensory approaches to spelling, so that kids are really learning it and hopefully transferring it into their writing. So notice kids do not have to have a spelling test. Believe it or not, you can grade them by we've learned da-da-da-da. I'll be looking for that in your writing. We're going to go through and we're going to circle every word that ends in ed, ing, and we're going to highlight them and we're going to look at how I spelled them. We'll walk the room, and that is one way that I can assess them. Or these tasks that I'm doing, I'm walking the room and they're doing those. So the whole point of it is to transfer into reading and writing. So this one's fun. If you're scared of shaving cream, that's fine. I put that because it was the week of MAP. I did it with 5th graders and they were all fine. These are some just fun, engaging, cutting kind of things where they can learn and sort when learning how to do grammar. Not a big grammar sheet fan, and that's the whole Pearson book. I know, you're fine. People keep walking in. So if you have this subject and predicate, and you're supposed to circle the subject, and they're supposed to box the predicate, and the kid reads it and does it opposite, and they send the paper home and they got a 0, and you put it in the grade book, or they have to redo it. Some teachers don't do that, but some do. They really did understand the concept, but they just didn't do the worksheet right. And as soon as you did the first example on the worksheet, they just did what you did on the worksheet, and there was no transfer into their actual writing. So, as fast as I talked, I'm not a fan of those. I'm really a fan of hands-on experiences in grammar, or taking actual writing and finding and fixing and doing labeling mentor sentences so that it actually transfers into their writing. So this is not very, I mean, you can, don't get me wrong, use a worksheet if you want to, but these are very authentic experiences I'm trying to put in here, and they're quick. So like when it says 5 to 10 minutes, you're going to stop, or you're going to get in the, hopefully the means of 5 to 10 minutes. So that's really what it is. Still working on the parts so I can edit in here, but you can copy and paste. But like I said, the lessons are short, and the whole point is to really make it like a readers and writers workshop model, quick and to the point. 6th grade I think has 1 rotation. Let me go to 5th. I haven't put 6th in. I'm about to. So 5th grade is in. So you can see same thing, but on theirs they're going to totally, it's 1, their goal is to get to at least 1 rotation if you have a 50 or 60 minute block, and your rotation might be from 15 to 20 minutes, because you need to pull those groups over and finish reading with them. They need to be reading on their own. They can go ahead and start a novel to start building their stamina. So if you have a novel you always like to read at the beginning of the year, I know 6th grade has a novel they're supposed to be reading, so this is when they can start reading that either together as a partner or what else in Reader's Workshop. Remember, even these kids, I like the Pearson and the guided readers, or even these, because it has an audio option. So let the kids listen, let them do tumble books, but they need to be reading on their own, but then they need to be listening as well, even those high kids, because they're learning vocabulary as they go. So it's just very good, authentic, and trying to get to help move our mindset to more of kind of what the new TEKS are, so that, that's annoying, so that you can kind of help along the way. So I'll put them in. You can use them. You can not use them. That's up to y'all at your campus. But the lesson plan template for this has been approved by Dr. Murray. So you can use either the Madeline Hunter or the template this way. I told my teacher they could put the whole week on day 1. It kind of is up to your administration at your campus. If you have any questions, I'm still uploading lots of things that will be in all tonight for everyone. So just let me know if you have any questions or need anything from me. Bye.